What have you been feeding yourself lately? Not physically, spiritually, emotionally, intellectually. Because whether you realize it or not, you are what you eat. When I spent 6 months researching flamingos, I found out that they are pink because of the regular diet of crustaceans. The beta carotene that they eat colors them on the inside and on the out. Their blood, their flesh, their feathers, like everything on the outside shows what they consume on the inside. The children's picture book called Sylvia, the flamingo, tells a story about this flamingo that decides she wants to eat something more glamorous than she's been made to eat. And so when she eats stripes, she turns striped. And when she eats dots, she becomes speckled. And when she eats blue like the sky, she turns blue. But eventually, Sylvie realizes that the stomach ache means that the diet she's been eating is not the one designed for her. And the one that God designed for her is the best after all. It's a simple kid's story, and it's adorable, but it's not just for kids. Because the same thing happens to us as adults. You, my friend, may not be eating shrimp and turning pink, but what you feed your mind and your heart shows in your leadership. Your marriage, your tone, your team culture, your business decisions, everything reflects what you put on the inside. Ron Hamilton of Majesty Music said it best in the lyrics of one of the songs he wrote. You cannot hide what's inside. It's sure to come out. And that is deeply true, especially for those of us in leadership. If you consistently feed on comparison, you will eventually show up grumpy, critical, restless. If you feed on fear, you're going to start making reactive decisions. If you feed on complaints, your language turns negative. If you feed on jealousy, your peace disappears. And here's what most high-achieving believers don't realize. It is possible to love God and still be feeding your mind things that slowly erode your trust in Him. A steady diet of doom scrolling, a steady diet of industry gossip, a steady diet of comparison to everybody else's numbers. And before long, you're questioning His sovereignty, His plan, His favor. You're questioning even your calling. 1 Peter 2:2-3 says, as newborn babes desire the sincere milk of the word, that you may grow thereby. And if so be that you have tasted that the Lord is gracious. See, growth is tied to diet. Taste and see of the Lord's goodness because it changes your countenance. Proverbs 15:3 says, a merry heart makes a cheerful countenance. Your face tells your story even before your mouth ever opens. Years ago, I was at a business conference and this woman approached me, and it was obvious that she held New Age beliefs. She said she had been watching me and that she needed to meet me because I radiated peace and light. She asked what my secret was. And that opened the door for me to share that what she was seeing was Christ in me. It wasn't personality. It wasn't branding. It wasn't strategy. It wasn't some put on air. It was diet. It's because I had been feeding myself on the word, living close to Christ. Ken Collier, the director of the Wilds Christian Camp and Conference Center in Brevard, North Carolina, says it this way. You do what you do, and you say what you say because you think what you think. And you think what you think because you believe what you believe about God and His Word and yourself. That is leadership psychology and theology all wrapped into one statement. Our business results are not just strategic outcomes. They're belief outcomes. And when I work with my high-level clients who are hosting 6- and 7-figure events or running entire ministries or gigantic business organizations, we absolutely talk strategy. We align teams, we refine offers, we strengthen those sales processes. But underneath all of that strategic breakdown is almost always a belief breakdown. Because when you are operating from fear and scarcity, from comparison, it shows. You cannot hide what's inside. That's why every year for the last 9 years, I walked groups of Christian entrepreneurs and leaders through my signature course, Doing Business with God. For 6 weeks, we go deep into what we believe about God and about His Word and about ourselves and how that translates into practical action steps in life and business. Because if you start with the wrong diet, everything after that becomes distorted. But if you feast on the truth, something shifts. The fear quiets, the peace stabilizes, the clarity sharpens, and your momentum builds. Your leadership changes. You begin making decisions from trust instead of panic, and from stewardship instead of ego, and even from obedience instead of performance. You begin remembering that this is not your business, it's His. You're a steward, and stewards feast on the truth, and they shine and work differently. If you've been feeling off lately, I invite you to check your diet. What voices and influences are shaping you? What content are you consuming daily? What narratives are you rehearsing to yourself internally? What are you saying to yourself over and over again? Because what you feed yourself will eventually color your feathers. And I want your business to radiate something far more powerful than just empty hustle. I want it to radiate peace, confidence, joy, fulfillment, steady faith. If this resonates with you, let me invite you to go deeper. Grab my book, Faith Like Flamingos. It's linked below. And let's start examining what you're feeding your spirit, why you're feeling this way. If you want structured guidance, then join our Next Business with God course. It runs several times a year. It's one of the most grounding resets I know of for Christian entrepreneurs. So click the link below, find our next registration date, and get yourself signed up. Because, my friend, you don't need a more glamorous diet. You need the one God designed for you. And when you return to that, everything changes.